All right, folks, it's Game 7 coming up on Morphy's Games to Chess. All right, it's round 3 of the American Chess Congress. Morphy defeated Thompson in the first round. He defeated Meek in the second round. Clean sweep, 6 in a row. He's going up against Theodore Lichtenhein. All right, let's see how it goes. All right, folks, so now Theodore Lichtenhein, let me read it right from the book, Morphy's Games of Chess. I hold it in my hand. I'm trying to give it to you one fact at a time, you know, as best I can. All the knowledge contained in this book, folks, if you could absorb it, forget it, you'll be blowing your opponents away. All right, here we go. Theodore Lichtenhein, Königsberg, Prussia, 1829. Forgive me if I butcher that one. Settled as a young man in New York. At time of the Congress of established fame as a player, President New York Chess Club in 1858. So the next year he became president of the New York Chess Club. So we definitely got a talented guy here, a talented contender for our hero Morphy. All right, here we go. Lichtenhein has the white pieces. He launches the e-pawn, okay? And no surprise, Morphy answers with e5. The knight comes out, attacking that e5 pawn, best move on the board in a king-pawn game for white. Developing those pieces with purpose, folks, with aggressive posts. That knight attacks the e5 pawn. Now, Morphy answers with the best move black could make in this position. King-pawn game, you defend that e5 pawn, developing a piece, all right? Don't start pushing too many pawns. A lot of mistakes are made with young beginners pushing all these pawns. Forget about it. 2 pawn pushes, you could get all your men out, folks. All right? All right, kids? Take that to heart. You watch. You play your games. 2 pawn pushes is all you really need. You watch the Morphy. Morphy in action, you're going to notice it in every game. All right? The men got to come out. The soldiers, the big guns, all right? The knights, the bishops, the rooks. All right? Eventually the queen. Okay, don't worry about those pawns dancing around the board. All right, here we go. Now, very interesting, right? We had Meek in the last game. We just went over it, right? Game 6. Meek hit with the D-pawn. Excuse me. Meek hit with the D-pawn. Striking into black center. Okay, Morphy was happily, grabbed that pawn. And then Meek offered him another one. He gambited, folks. Gambited the pawn. Morphy was happy to accept it. All right, Meek jumped the knight up, developed with a piece, okay? Recaptured with a piece. And the whole idea of the gambit, folks, we went over it last time. Quick development, get your men out. Look at those white bishops ready to slash and burn. They're going to jump into that position, attacking, right? Ready to go. The knights are up. Aggressively posted on C3, F3. All right, that's the gambit idea, right? You're giving an extra pawn, you get an elite in development, hopefully you make something of it, right? You put pressure on your opponent. All right, that's the whole idea. Now look at this one, though. Lichtenhein doesn't go with C3, okay? The Gorine gambit was Meek's idea last game, Game 6. Look at Lichtenhein right here. He develops a piece, people, come on! Bishop to C4, king bishop. We've seen it many times on that square, aiming at the black king side. Good move, all right? Now, this is known as the Scotch gambit. See, you're not worried about getting your pawn back. For instance, you go like this. You take with the knight. Boom, you got your pawn back, right? This is the Scotch game. You see this in modern practice now and then. All right, it's a whole other story. Scotch game. Instead, you let the pawn sit there. It's the Scotch gambit. You develop that bishop to C4. Scotch gambit. All right. So now, here we're going to have an interesting discussion. This is very, very instructive. Folks, lots of weapons in this game. Good patterns, lots of tactics, combinations. You're going to want to absorb these ideas, put them into your bag. You know what I'm saying? Your attack manual. All right, let's get going. Here we're going to introduce something to you called the Max Lang attack. All right? Another form of a gambit, okay? Very, very interesting. Now, let's get the breakdown of this. Watch this. Maybe you've heard of the Italian game, all right? The Italian game. Here it is. The king-pawn game, knight up, attacking e5. Black defends it with his knight. The bishop comes to c4. The bishop comes to c5, right? the Italian game. Now, interesting enough, sometimes you see this played, you know, you see C3 supporting the D4 pawn push, right? You get into this type of game. All right, whole other story, right? But let's get into what brings about the Max Lang attack, all right? Here we go. This is what I want to show you. So now it's White's move, right? So say he castles. Okay. Here comes the knight attacking E4, right? Now, White strikes with D4, hitting that bishop on C5, the Black's king bishop. Now, yeah, the knight on E4 is hanging, but you got this piece here. What are you doing, right? So, okay, so Black's got to answer this. So, normally what happens is you see pawn takes pawn, right? And now, since that E-pawn of Black's recaptured on D4, White's able to push this guy up and strike at that knight on F6, okay? So now what's going to happen here? Look at this. Now the knight can run, right? The knight may be able to run. I don't even know. The most common move and the best move, I think, supposedly, is D5. Because we said this rule in other games, folks. In king-pawn games, if Black could get in D5 safely, he equalizes, okay? So he's trying to get it here. Can he get it? Can he equalize with this D5 move? This is a good question. I don't know, folks. This one, we'll leave this to the grandmasters because this one's been being battled over for years, okay? We're talking Max Lang. He was a chess player who came right after Morphy. He was around in the 1860s. A strong chess player, okay, and he was a good writer. He wrote about chess. And he, I guess they named this in tribute to him because he played it or he developed it or he studied this Max Lang attack for White's perspective. Okay, what happens here? White doesn't move the bishop. He says, go ahead, take him. Let's trade the minor pieces, right? And now, if you notice, the king file is open for the rook. Boom! You throw the rook on the open file, right? Of course, the big guns. The cannon's already aiming down at the enemy king. Look at this. All right, so the Max Lang attack, folks, very, very good one we want to add to our, opening repertoire. This is a good one. Now, here I'll give you some of the ideas, because I'll tell you what, we could be here for months just studying this one. Like I said, the grandmasters haven't even figured it out. You see this once in a while. Very, very good gambit, okay? Gives good piece action for White. It's going to look like maybe Black won't even get to castle in many of these lines, okay? And lots of traps and, pitfalls where you blow up, all right? Here we go. Now, as you know with the check, you already noticed that the king bishop can't go back because of this pawn, all right? He doesn't want to do that one. All right, obvious, right? That's the obvious. He has that piece already developed. Why even move it again, right? All right, now, of course you want to block with this guy. Okay, now, playing Shredder, believe it or not, he actually moved, right? He moved here. All right, now, you can take, you can just take, but I like to set up this one right here. You're trying to set up some dangerous, let me just throw in a stupid move here for Black just to show you the threat. Look, you take, pawn takes pawn, it's a check move, folks. All right, so the king's got to take, because look, the pawn's forking the rook and the king, right? All right, you got to take them, right? But lo and behold, if you haven't noticed, boom, you lost your queen. See that? The pawn move unleashes the attack on the queen. Look at that, from the bishop on G5. Devastation, right? That's what's being threatened. Okay, all right, fine enough. No silly A6 move's going to be played there. Maybe you take, with the pawn like this, okay? And now you swing the bishop here. All right, look at this busted king side now. The king's got nowhere to go. He can't go here. Remember, the white rook on E1, controlling that file. He's got only one square, folks. And that king, that castle position, busted up. Forget it. Look at that open G file. Ugly pawns. Look at them. Look at those F pawns. Double isolated, weak. Look, you get another piece here. You developed a knight. You're getting ready for many things, right? You're trying to swing, let me just throw this pawn up here to show you some ideas, right? You're trying to swing the knight up just to get something going like this. Watch this, look. Knight takes F6 check, right? The king's got no running room, no breathing room. He can't move. That's a mating pattern right there. All right, you got the queen. All right. Okay, I know you're yelling at the screen. The queen could take. All right, what are you talking about? Now, look. Now here comes that rook on the open file. There it is. Mate. Okay? So you got many dangerous threats because the black king is exposed with that open G file. Okay? And, you know, the white pieces, folks, you got good piece action. You got those white pieces coming into play, swarming around that black king. Open G file, busted, castle position. All right, this is. Let's count the pawns. Look, you got. All right, black didn't even give up a pawn. It's 8 pawns, right? White's got 6. But like I said, do the pawns really matter at this point? Look at the pawns. The black king side's busted. White's got piece action. All he could ask for, all right? You know, maybe. You know, I'm not saying it's a guarantee. I'm saying against lower-rated opponents, forget it, folks. This is great. This is what you want to play into. Anyone under 2,000, you give it a go. The max line attack, right? Against grandmasters, okay. In a long game, a 5-hour game, 2.5 hours each side. All right, so they're gonna analyze. They're gonna look at every booby trap and anything you're trying. They could slowly worm their way out of it. And yeah, in this scenario, they'll be up 2 pawns. Forget about it. Against the grandmaster, it's over, right? They'll get out of this. They'll slowly worm their way out. But let me tell you, in the hands of a good attacker, folks, with white, even grandmasters and masters, you know, they got to watch. A lot of booby traps. All right, so anyway, there's one variation of this is when Shredder wanted to step aside, step right off. He surrendered his castling privileges. He doesn't even want it. So in my book, white's already doing good. It's practically equal because black moved. He can't castle. You're going to get lots of play, you know? The attack could play itself. I mean, just look at this, too, just to show you. Look, you get him over there. Here are some of the threats. The knight comes up. All right. So, look, Shredder moved the bishop here to prevent this guy from coming up, right? But, hey, what if you do it anyway, right? He takes, right? You don't want him coming to F6. Okay. Anyway, look, you take. Now, look at this. Now you got the rook. The queen. I think he swung the queen there. Maybe he could bring this knight over here, but even that doesn't work. Look, okay, you're trying to protect G4, right? Here's the queen trying to protect G4. That's a mating pattern in itself. The rook checks. Where's the king going to move to? Can't with that bishop on H6, right? There's another mating pattern. All right, so the queen's covering it for now, right? But look, folks, look at this one. Look, maybe you try to use the knight, right? Cover G4. But look, you got this guy. Come on. Dummy up. Look, now the guy swings over. See the little pitfalls? All right, the grandmaster, he's not going to fall for that one, right? He's not going to fall into it. All right, you got the block. One more move, it's over. There you go, right? All right, of course, the master, the grandmaster, they're not going to fall for that. But I'm just showing you the open file threat. You know, that's what white's playing for. You know, you take that bishop. All right, maybe the queen's the better move, right? Who knows? What could be done here? I mean, you could expose. Look at this. Look at this. Even the engine's showing it. The knight could take D4, right? If you're dumb enough to do something that you take back, figuring, whoa, what's he doing? I got 3 on that. I got my queen. I got my bishop there. What's he doing? He lost a piece. Yeah, but folks, you got. How do you want to do it? You want to go this way? They swapped queens, right? There you go. You got your mate again. You see these things that could crop up? All right. The traps are waiting. They're lying there waiting. All right. So there's just the open G file, the knight taking on F6. All right, we got these ideas, right? Can you do it against the master? All right, who knows? It's a game, folks. That's the point, right? We'll leave it at that for the king moving to F8. But most likely, this is the block. Bishop to C6, the block, right? All right, and then you get the knight coming up to G5. This is the Max Lang attack, the main line, all right? Yes, the knight is moving up. Now, wait a minute. We've talked in other lectures, right? You're moving the same piece twice. You gambited. Shouldn't you be getting your pieces out, your other pieces? True. This is true, all right? This is an exception to the rule, folks, because we got a devastating threat. What's the threat, folks? Okay, anyway, look, you lost this pawn. Let's get rid of it. You figure, let me capture that pawn. He didn't defend it in any way. But lo and behold, look at what happens to you. You take the bishop with it. Now, look, you can't take this way, folks. We got to dummy up, okay? There's the first joke of the night. All right, we can't go into that one. All right, you got to take with the pawn, right? You got to. You can't take with the queen. But lo and behold, with that F pawn taken on E6 now, you get a check in with the queen. All right, big deal. What do you want? Maybe you hit him. Get out of here. Look at this. You just lost the bishop over there on C5. You see that? The bishop on C5 could become a target in this variation, this Max Lang attack. It's undefended, you understand? Nobody's guarding that bishop. So watch how the tactics play out. This is what White plays against. He puts it together, okay, in ways that keep him alive in this position. He's down the pawn. He may even be down 2 pawns at some point. But this is what he's going for. The tactics keep him in it, all right? And it creates confusion. This is what the lower-rated players have trouble handling, all right? If they don't find the best move, folks, the game's going to blow up, all right? This is what we want. We're tacticians, all right? We're taking the Morphy style. This is what we're going for. We're adding the Max Lang attack into our manual of ideas, all right? So now look. So that bishop on C5 is shaky, right? Let's develop a piece and protect him, right? We'll do it with the queen. Obviously, we can't go here, right? All right, let's go to D6. All right, let's protect the dark square bishop on the dark squares. Queen to D6, good. You developed the piece. Now you're looking to castle long, perhaps, right? Get that queen out of the way. Makes sense, right? Good move. All right, here we go. Look at this. Pawn takes pawn. All right, now where's that rook going to go? Only move on the board to be made is rook to G8, okay? I mean, that's the only move. You can't do anything else. You got to save that rook. Most important move on the board for black. All right, fine. Right, makes sense. All right, here comes the rook. Sack. You sack the exchange. Look at this. Now, again, folks, what are we doing? Queen can't take because the knight, right? All right, I'm just showing the obvious. The pawn has to take, right? Once again, unleashing the queen check on H5. All right, now, if the king comes straight up, forget about it. It's over. It's over. Look at this. King's got 1 square. You take this guy wherever he goes. Let's say he goes back, right? It's all over, folks. We get the other rook maybe, right? The engine says we could grab it. I didn't even have to look that far. Look, you picked up a rook, right? And even if you do this guy, right? Hey, I don't know. What does he want to do? Even if he blocks. Whatever way you want to block, right? You could take, I don't know. You could do whatever you want, right? Hey, look at this. They're going to win the queen. See, they're going to win the other rook this way, right? You get an extra queen. All right, fine. You know, you could do it that way, but then you lost your pawn, right? I mean, all right. However you want to do it, folks. I mean, once you got to win one game like this, you're up. How much are you up right now? Let's look at the numbers, right? You got even just let's not panic. Let's say we take these guys off, right? We got. Let's see. What do we got? We're up a minor piece, right? We're up an extra knight, and we got that dangerous pawn over there on G7. Even if black wins it, he's down a piece. You know, I mean that. It's an easy win, okay? Now look at this. If he goes here, that's nonsense, right? We pick up that rook on G8, okay? So he goes here, okay? He goes here. Let's test it out. What do you do now? All right, look at this, folks. The knight comes swinging up, attacking that C5 bishop, right? And the queen on D6. All right, so now if the queen moves wherever it wants to go, right? You want to go here, okay? You could take with check, all right? There's no sense to this because the queen still protects that knight on C5, all right? So you see, we're doubled up on that bishop there. Once this queen moves, that's it. The bishop's toast on C5, right? If he wants to come here, if you want to get like real cute, right? Look at this. We could be cute back. Look at that. See that? Game over, all right? Just what are we doing here, right? What are we doing? It's over for black. All over. All right? You lose the queen, forget about it. All right, so maybe he comes here, right? He comes back. All right, so now you take this guy with check, okay? Where does he go, folks? With C8? All right, fine. Where do you want to go, folks? You can't go here because the queen, right? You want to go here? All right, how about this one? You throw the bishop, there you go. You just lost your queen, too. Add an insult to injury, right? The whole position falls apart. Forget about it. You take, let's see, what if he comes up? What goes on over here, right? I mean, look, you could grab this guy, right? What does he do? He's got to go back. We could jump around all day long if you want. All right, so basically there, you tore up Black. Black's gone. He's a goner, folks. He's a goner. You're up, let's see. You're up, let me see. Let's count the pawns, right? Let's do our math. All right, 6 black pawns against, what, 7 white ones. I got that right? Yup. We got queens. We got an extra, there we go. We got an extra bishop and knight. All right, so look at this, folks. Very ugly. Come on. You can't play like this. Even now with this one, right? Look at that knight keeping the king back in the back rank, right? So now look, we could even leave that. We leave that we leave that knight hanging. Who cares? Because then we could take this guy, right? And he comes up. We could take with check. We win that rook. And then we get our queen back over here. You know what I mean? It's just falling apart. It's falling apart, folks. We're going to go get an early lunch. You know what I mean? We'll be well rested for our next round. This is the idea of the Max Lang attack. You're going for a nice, quick knockout. Pretty combinations. We're playing right into your wheelhouse. You know what I'm saying? We're playing the tactics, folks. Right into your wheelhouse. That's the saying, folks. You're playing your type of game. None of this positional nonsense and waiting till long end game. Come on. We're gonna hit them with the club. You understand? We're gonna whip out those combinations. Go right for it. King hunt, baby. All right. Now look. There's many other things. Basically, after you win that bishop, forget it, folks. It's game over, right? Game over. Okay. So this is all on this line right here, right? Knight comes up. All right, you try to protect the bishop, right? You try to protect the bishop with the queen. All right, but that doesn't work out, as we saw. Now, the actual move is queen to d5, all right? Because after, folks, let's try this one even. Say, look, after this, okay, there is no check on h5. I mean, it's the check, but hey, what are you doing there? What are you doing there wandering around at night in this neighborhood? Get out of here. Come on. Go home, sister. Look, you don't belong here. Look at this. There's no check. Come on, all right? So we can't play like this, all right? So this is the idea behind queen to d5. You're keeping that the white queen check on h5. You're getting rid of it, right? You're blocking it. So now, get a load of this. Now that queen on d5, strong post, right? Center of the board, you develop a piece, good move. But we could develop pieces too, and with tempo. Look at this. Knight comes to c3. Holy smokes, has this guy lost his mind? What's he talking about? I'm taking that piece off. Get out of here. Look at this, folks. Queen takes queen. That's right. The bishop on e6 is pinned. It's pinned, folks. You got to wake up. Look at this. You can't do it, folks. Look, the computer won't even let me do it. Look at that. You can't take the queen because of this guy down here. The rook's pinning that bishop. So the queen is actually undefended on d5. The black queen is undefended. So look at this. The knight flies in. Looks like it's kamikaze, right? He's nuts. What's he doing over here? All right, again, queen's got to move. So white's gaining a tempo. He's developing pieces with tempo. That's what you want to play in your gambits. That's how you want to play. All right, you're building up the momentum. The energy's building, folks. You can feel it. All right, look, let's say the queen goes back here now. All right, folks, what we just looked at before with queen at d6, it's even better now for white. It's even better. Look, you take over here. All right, rook's got to move over. All right, here we go. We sack the exchange like we said. Pawn takes. Here comes the queen. Check. Can't come up here. That still doesn't work. Remember, folks, we win this guy. All right, it's over, all over. Okay, so the only move, again, he's got to go to D7, right? All right, so now we throw up the knight over here. Same idea. We're attacking. We're forking both of them once again, right? The queen on D6 and that shaky bishop. He's going to lose that bishop, right, folks? Now look at this. Try to place the bishop there, all right? He's in dire straits, but hey, it's a move, right? He plays it there. Look at this. Knight takes, just like before. But now we got the extra piece developed on C3, right? For instance, let's just show it. It's pretty, right? Now, the engine, of course, the Chess Genius. This is my app. The chess app, the Chess Genius. I highly recommend it. Good app, all right? It recommends this move. King this to C8, all right? And basically, white's up big time. So, I mean, again, look at this move again, folks. He's going after the rook. He doesn't care about this guy. He doesn't care about this guy right here, right? He doesn't care about them because he gets this. He wins the exchange like that. He gets it back, right? Now he's actually up a bishop. And look at this. What's he going to... It's over, folks. It's over. Look at this. Who cares about the extra bishop? When you got, I don't know, let's see. Let's look at the engine. What's it say? All right, he wants to play with this guy. He has to block it with that one. All right. So however you want to do. You want to get ready to bring in the new queen, right? Here comes another queen coming into the game. Look at this if you block with the queen, right? Look at this, folks. It's all over. You take here with check. What are you going to do, right? Let's look at this one. Obviously, if you go there, you can't do it, right? The queen is. I can't even get the pieces' names. It's falling apart. It's so ugly for black. The knight is protecting the queen on D7, right? So you can't do that. All right. So he goes here, right? He goes there. Now let's see. You get the check in, right? Okay. So the king's got no square, right? You don't want to take. What are you going to just trade now? Come on. I mean, the game's over either way you look at it. All right, here we go. This guy goes here. All right, now, oh, look at this. Look at this one, folks. Look at this. You bring the queen. You get your extra queen. See? That pawn on G7, folks, just to know, the Max Lang attack, you get the open file for the rook, and you get that G pawn. The pawn taking on G7, one move away from queening. That could be your, you hold that, you ace up your sleeve. You know what I'm saying? Here it is. Now it's shining. Look at this. You're using it. You take, what do we even do? The engine doesn't even want to take. It's all over, folks. What does he do? Something like this, A6. When you got nothing but a move like that, forget about it. It's all over, okay? He has to move. There we go. What do we do? Let's see. How do we do it? Oh, look at this. He takes, let's see, mate in 3. Yeah, he takes the defender off the board. The defender of the queen, right? Look. We take here, either way. Black is busted. He's got nothing left. He's got no soldiers left, but we're trying to finish it in grand style. You know what I mean? As pretty as you can do it. Look at this. This is Adolf Anderson. This is in his style. He make the newspapers with this one. You know what I mean? All right, here he goes. He takes the knight, right? That's the defender of the queen on D8. All right, if the queen takes this guy, you get this one. You see what I mean? There you go. There you go. Adolf Anderson. Tribute to him right there, right? Beautiful stuff. The great Austrian grandmaster of attack right before Morphy's time, all right? He wrote the book, right? He wrote the book on combinations. Come on. Look at this. Even if you fall asleep, look at this. You throw it away. How about, oh, you can't even do it. You can't even do it. The poor queen is pinned to this queen. I was going to say, look, you got a back rank mate, but you don't, folks. Come on, I'm just looking at it all. I'm having the fun. You know what I mean? I'm having fun here. I hope you're enjoying this. The jokes are here too. You know what I mean? All right. So anyway, we go back, right? This one falls apart. Falls apart once again on black's position. Look at this. You take your bishop with check. All right, Oh, look, God help him if he goes up this way. Do you see it, folks? Do you see the move now? Let's just end this variation with this one to show how devastating this Max Lang attack can be if Black makes just one subtle mistake, right? Look at this. Do you see the move? There's two beautiful moves, however you want to do it. All right, here we go. Look at that king, that Black king on d6. Does it have anywhere to go? Any squares? No, right? It's in a mating net. It's a big fish caught in the net, right? We just bagged a whale. Look at this, a whopper. Look at this one. Knight check, mate, right? It's like a form of a smothered mate. Look at this. The king's got nowhere to go. How about this one? How do you go over here? These two squares, b5 or e4. Take your pick, right? Take your pick. Black is gone. He's toast. We just caught a whopper. Look at him in that net. All right, game over, right? Max Lang, baby. Add it to the book of ideas, right? The attack repertoire. All right, now look. So this is all on the idea of you get that tempo on that queen, right? This pawn is pinned, and let's say he ends up moving back, right? He loses a tempo, going back to that square that he could have went directly to it, right? We got an extra piece developed because of it, the knight on c3. All right, anyway, so what should he do? What should Black do? Is he lost? Well, not yet. Here we go. Can't go here because of the rook, right? He's got to go to f5. Okay, he's got to stay in contact with that bishop on c5 or he loses that piece, right? All right, so now what's the move, okay? All right, well, now our knight is hanging, right? We do something silly, our knight is hanging now. See that? Okay. So anyway, we move the knight to e4, right? Good post for the knight. All right, now we're attacking that c5 bishop also, right? So that queen he's running out of room, all right? Now watch this. What's the move for Black here, okay? Well, the move is castles, okay? But now watch this. Let's say, again, another trap. Now, obviously, you can look. The queen can't take this because the knight's there, right? The knight's protecting that one. But you can figure, oh, well, I'll take it with the pawn, right? I'll take it with the pawn, that pesky, because if he takes me, this guy on the 7th rank, I could see something, this pawn could be trouble. I mean, even now, look, he's threatening. Look, where does the rook go, right? He can't go anywhere. I mean, all right, the queen is protecting the square, all right? But, I mean, folks, again, the tactics fly, right? The tactics, it could become trouble. Who knows? That pawn coming over there on g7, let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of him, right? No silly a6. Come on. Let's get rid of him. And then we'll boot the knight on g5. Maybe we'll kick him back. Get out of here, right? Giving me all this trouble. All right, now watch what happens, folks. You don't move the knight on g5. You hit the queen. Look at this. Would you have thought of this one? Insane, right? You launch the g-pawn in front of your castled king. You just launch it up, and you attack that enemy queen on f5. She's running out of breathing room, folks. Now, look, of course, yes. You just take here, right? You could just take here. It's check, okay? Wouldn't it be grand if you could just throw the knight? But it's check, folks. You want to jump there and fork that king and queen, but it's check. All right, so we take him. All right, he's got to take back, right? Now we do it. Now we do it. You see what I'm saying? All right, the king moves over. Folks, it's a double check. Look at that one. The knight moves, checking the king, but unleashing the rook on e1. It's a double check. All right, king over, right? All right, so now you won the bishop. So now you got a piece this way. We were going after the dark square bishop. Hey, we won the light square bishop in this variation, right? The Max Lang attack. Hitting them from all angles, right? All right, but now you might be saying, wait a minute. That open G file, the knights are there. Hey, it's natural. I'll swing my rook. I'm going to win a piece, right? I'll try to launch one of these pawns and hit that knight. The knight right now is defended by this guy, right? But just to show, we're going to try to launch this one or launch this one and try to win the pin piece, right? Okay. Because if this guy moves, folks, let me move that 8 pawn. That's silly. All right, if this guy moves, as you can see, this guy hangs, right? So it only looks natural to bring your rook tactically, right? You bring your rook to the open file. The king's on the other side of the board, and his two knights are pinned, right? Okay. Luckily, like I said, this one is protected by the bishop right now. So look at this, though. These pesky knights jumping in. Knight to f6, right? All right, he's hitting the bishop. I mean, he's hitting the rook. Talking so much about winning bishops, I can't stop mentioning them. All right. The knight on f6 is attacking this guy, right? Okay. Now, the engine's saying that now it gets real crazy, right? He's going after my rook. I'm going after his rook. All right? I didn't even look at this. Okay? Now he says to go back. I guess the king comes after him. Look at this. This is just, we're just playing, I'm just throwing the moves fast. I'm not letting the engine, go. But look, at this point, folks, black has two extra pawns, but white has the extra knight, right? He's got an extra knight for the 2 pawns. So, I'd say that's a win for with the queens off, we're going closer to the end game. There's still enough pawns on the board, right? You can make one a potential queen. I think that white could win a couple of black pawns, then he's clearly up a piece, you know what I mean? All right, so anyway, look. He tries, look at these pesky knights. Let's say he tries to save the rook. This is what I saw before. But all that happens, he wants to stay on this knight that's pinned, right? He wants to push this guy next, something like this. But folks, you can't win it. You can't win it. It just, look, this guy, he jumps over here now. He's over here with a check. The king over, right? You just go back. Check. Again, what are you going to do? I mean, if he moves here, like the engine's actually saying, I'm surprised, right? He's going, heck, look at this. If he comes back here, just looking at it, I'm just seeing this. Look, the king, again, another mating net, folks. He can't move, right? He can't move. If you want to just win the rook, look at this. Oh, wait, he's pinned. All right, he can't do it. So they're going at this way, this side. Oh, look at that. You win the bishop now. Come on. Folks, I fell asleep, folks. I fell asleep. I wanted to move the pin knight over to h7. Right? And the knight's pinned. What am I even doing? You got those moments. You got to always check, Always when you're playing your games, you always go slow. You always that's why I like the slow game. You can really analyze everything. All right, so the knight can check here. The king's got to move, right? You win another piece. Come on. We won another piece. Keep counting them. How many are we up by now? All right, forget about it. It doesn't work out for you. Come back, check. All right, they're saying king over here. Look at this, folks. You bring the rook up. You bring the rook. You're going to swing the rook over. Swing the rook to h1. It's going to be a mating threat. You see? Look at this. Another threat. Like another mating net. Look at this. Knight and rook. That's a good one to remember. Nowhere to go, right? Okay, so there's no a6, right? No a6. But, folks, do we even have to analyze this anymore? The engine's saying rook here. But, folks, does it even matter? Come on, look, you go here. All right, the king comes up, right? You can check. Let's see, the engine's saying to check. He could take this guy. I could take this one. He's only got one square. I could check him over here. Look at this. Look at what we're getting into. He's only got, let's see, he's only got one square, folks. Look at this. I didn't even look at it. Look at this. You got the check, right? He's got nowhere to go. Another mating net. Look at these square. The square controls. The square control in the center of the board. Look at this. The knight controls this and this. The bishop controls this and this, right? Knight controls those two light squares. Bishop controls the dark squares. The rook gives the check. Look at this. He's going to win the knight. Look at this. Unbelievable. You take it, right? Where's he go? Where's he go? Here? It's the only. If he goes here, he's got a double check, right? Then he's going to win. Then where's he go there? He's got to go back? I don't even know. He will lose the rook. Folks, the pieces start falling off the board. I mean, come on. It's over. It's been over. What are we doing? All right. I love seeing the action, though, right? You know, you get all these combinations. You're seeing the patterns, folks. That's why I want to show this to you guys. The beginners here especially, right? We're learning this game. We're picking up the patterns that you put them together. Creates your attack, you know. It creates your game. All right. So where's the move now? You can't. The point is, after this, right, the queen can't take this, right? He can't take because of what we looked at. Take, you win that bishop, and you get out scot-free, you know? No trouble at all. The rook means nothing, all right? You get out of that one. Now watch this, okay. So the queen can't take this, right, with check. Let's say he tries to go back, all right? Let's say, all right, if he goes here, right, we just hit him back. Now, look, he's running. Now F5 isn't available anymore, right? He can't go here, can't go here, can't go here. Where does he go? He can't go anywhere. He can't go here because of the bishop, right? The white bishop takes him out on F4. She can't go here, the knight. Only square, folks. Look at this. There goes your knight fork. You get it anyway. Look at this. Forget about it, folks. Look, okay. Look at it. He can't even go here. He's got to go here. Now, look. When you take the queen, the bishop can't even take back. All right. So, all right. What are we talking about? Maybe he go this way. Maybe he'll go that way, right? Big deal. You lose the queen. You lose the game. It's over, right? It's all over. Forget about it. All right. Now, what do we look? Let me see something. Takes there. You got that bishop coming in, look. Look at this. It's getting ugly, folks. Very dangerous. Very dangerous stuff. What do we just go? I was thinking just go. Oh, no, you go for the mate over here. I mean, okay, he's got to play something ugly. What am I talking about? Well, if you come down, you sack the queen. Here comes the rook recaptured. Take him. He could block for one move. Doesn't matter. Here's another one, folks. I'm telling you, the Max Lang, right? Lots of tactics. That's why we love this one. It opens the game up. The combinations just fly out. Okay. So anyway, one mistake. What was the mistake at this point? Knight comes. Let's just go back to it, right? The knight hits with tempo. The queen goes to F5, only square. Right, the knight repositions himself on E4. Okay, what was the mistake? You can't take this pawn. All right, looks like a sensible move. Crazy, right? G4. How many of your lower-rated opponents under 2,000 would see this move coming, right? All right, anyway, here we go. So now, what is the move? Like I think I said it. This is the move for black. Okay, this is like the main line. Okay. Here you go. So the king castles long. He gets out of there. All right. So now I looked a little further. What I found was this line. Pawn takes. All right. Rook's got. Okay. Even do it this way. Let's do it this way. I don't know if it matters if the rook comes here. Right. He has the option. But let's do it this way. Let's do this. Knight takes first. Right. Knight takes this guy again, folks. You can't take with the queen because you'll lose this guy. See? That bishop on C5, the queen's trying to guard that one so you don't lose it, right? So when the knight takes, you got to take with the pawn, right? Okay, now you take over here. All right, he's got a choice. Which white square? Maybe here, maybe there, whatever. Maybe anywhere. He picks the G8 to stay on that G7 pawn, which is why white can throw the bishop up there to protect it. You know, he tries to hold on to that pawn up there. That could be a lot of, it could be worth the game right there. That pawn, I mean, black's got to worry about that one. But again, this is still a game, folks. It could be anybody's. You know what I mean? You got, let's see, it's black's move, and according to the engine, the Chess Genius right here, the app, it's saying that black's up 1.37. 1 1/3 pawns. Okay, you could take it or leave it. Basically, I'd say he's up a pawn, which he is, right? Let me count him again. Wait, 7 pawns, 2, 4. Oh, no, there's 7 to 7, folks. He doesn't even have an extra pawn at this stage. Is that right? 2, 4, 6, 7. Yes, we got 6 white pawns which haven't moved, and the one on G7. The bread and butter right up there, the golden boy. Right? He could become a potential queen. Who knows how we'll play off of this one? Lots of ideas, lots of creative ideas could come out. This is the type of tactical game we're looking for. All right, so anyway, that's the Max Lang attack, okay? This is now, why did I know, this is supposed to be Morphy's games of chess, right? Why am I going into this one? All right, very important, right? It's learning, folks. We're going to learn. We're going to understand this game a little better now that we got the Max Lang attack discussed a little bit. Folks, don't get me wrong. This one could go on. We could be here for a year just going over the Max Lang attack and all the different variations in games. I'm giving you some of the ideas. Basic idea, the pawn goes to G7, right? You get that pawn. Let's just go all the way through. You get the pawn on G7, okay? And you get that open. You had the open E-file with an attack on the black king. You had the bishop, the light square bishop pinned because it blocked on E6. You got the shaky bishop on C5. The queen trying to protect it. Awkwardly, placed. He's basically on this D5. It's the only move. Boom, knight comes out. Develops with tempo. Queen to F5. Only move. All right? So black is just hanging in there. So any player under 2,000, forget it. One little slip and they blow up. But now let's get to the Morphy game, okay? So now we go all the way back, right? Let's start over, right? We got it. King pawn. Knight attacks the E5 pawn. Morphy defends, okay? Now, Lichtenhein strikes with D4, right? D4. Okay, D4. Now, we saw in game 6, the last game actually, Meek threw D4. Same idea, third move, striking the black center. Morphy was happy to grab the pawn, and then Meek offered offered this other pawn. There you go, and then Meek took back with the knight, okay? And Morphy's up a pawn, but white gets piece action, quick development. Look at those bishops, the white bishops ready to jump right into the position, okay? They're ready to go into battle. Black's up a pawn, but he's behind in development, okay? And this was all discussed in the last lecture in game 6. Okay, so now the gambit, right? Morphy takes the pawn. Now Lichtenhein throws the bishop on C4. This is called the Scotch gambit. Okay, why? Again, I didn't touch this yet. If white doesn't gambit and he just takes his pawn back with the knight, that's called the Scotch game. You see that now and then in modern practice, the Scotch game, right? Okay, but he doesn't grab the pawn back. He just develops the piece, baby. All right, he doesn't push C3, another pawn. He develops the piece. He gets a second piece out, and he leaves the pawn there. So now, naturally, black can defend it, and now it's a gambit because black's got 2 on it, the bishop on C5 and the C6 knight defending the D4 pawn now. So now white can't grab it, right? What's going to happen here? Look at this. They're just going to trade down. You think that's a good trade? All right. So there you go. So now black's got it covered if this was to be the game. And Morphy doesn't play bishop C5. Why? Why doesn't he play bishop C5? I'll show you why. Okay, let's say that is the move. And then white, the grandmasters say, let's see, wait. I'll show you what Morphy does play. He plays knight to F6. He plays knight to F6. A variation of the 2 knights defense, right? Makes sense. 2 knights are out. The 2 black knights. 2 knights defense, okay? Now, what do the old masters say right here on this? Okay. Obtaining a well-known position in the 2 knights defense. Castling is white's best reply. Right here. Castles is white's best reply. Why? Because it says after that, he can get the Max Lang attack if black plays bishop to C5. How does he get the Max Lang attack? Look at this, folks. E5, booting that knight, right? But we don't move the knight. Black tries D5. Okay? King pawn games. You're trying to get that D5 pawn push in. If you could get it in safely, you equalize. Well, this is going to be a tough scenario as we already looked at the Max Lang. Pawn takes, open E-file. Here we go. Boom, boom. Knight comes up. We're in the Max Lang attack. It transposes. You get it, folks? Normally you reach it in the Italian game. like I said before, right? Pawn, pawn, knight comes up. We're just going to show you. I want it to be thorough. Bishop comes out, okay? White castles, knight comes up, strike with d4. Now, yes, you can take this way. I don't know, you can take this. You know, you've got different ways, but most commonly you take like this with the pawn. Now you're up a pawn, right? Here it comes. e5. d5 takes. Here goes the check. Here goes the block. Hey, there goes the knight g5. See that? It transposes. We got to the same road, just in a different, we got to the same crossroads, just by a different route. You know what I mean? We came from a different road. Through the Italian game, you know? We went from the Italian game. But here we go. This is why they say the knight comes out. Lichtenhein pulls the pawn up, throws the pawn at d4. Morphy takes. Scotch gambit, bishop to c4. See this? Morphy decides, knight to f6. Now, Lichtenhein doesn't do castles, but this is the masters are saying this is the best move, because if black is dumb enough to play bishop to c5, now, there you go. Boom. Here comes the pawn push. You hit with d5. He takes. You take. Rook check. Block. There he is. The knight jumping up. We got the max line. There it is. Same position. Same exact. You could double check it. Hardy, har, right? Pretty funny stuff. All right. So now, what does this all mean? Why did I even talk about the Max Lang? Max Lang, I don't know if I even told you. Maybe I'm repeating myself, but okay. He was a German chess player in 1860, right? He came a little after Morphy. He developed the Max Lang attack. I don't know if he wrote articles on it. However it was. He put it into practice. I'm not exactly sure. But it bears his name, right? So he came after Morphy. So does Morphy even know about the Max Lang attack? It wasn't written about yet. It wasn't really played much in practice. You know, I don't know. But maybe he's just playing instincts. He knows maybe this is the best move. Knight out is better, right? Okay. The masters say white should play castles. If black is dumb enough for this, he gets the Max Lang attack with e5, right? Okay. But Lichtenhein doesn't, after Morphy's knight f6, Lichtenhein doesn't play castles. What does he do? What does he do? Now, here's why I talked about the Max Lang. You saw all the aggressive attacks and combinations and ideas, right? White gets a lot of play. Okay, now let's compare it to what Lichtenhein does, right? Let's compare it. He pushes now. He pushes now, a move early. e5. What are the old masters? They wrote it, folks. I'm not making it up. Here we go. Let me get to the page. I lost my bookmark as you dangle there in suspense, right? You're waiting to hear the logic of this. All right, I'm going to give it to you. All right, look. Here it is. The old master's right. The actual variation played has, after 5 moves on each side, only a superficial likeness to the Max Lang, and the attack is soon in black's hands. All right? So that's why I'm showing you the difference. Watch what Morphy does against this, opposed to the options black has in against the Max Lang attack. 2 totally different things, right? You're going to see it now. Morphy hits with d5. He strikes in the center with d5, hitting the bishop on c4, right? Similar to this Max Lang attack, right? But now, if I stress, if Lichtenhein had taken the knight, and Morphy did take the bishop, which he would have, right? Now, there's no rook check. White hasn't castled yet. There's no rook check, folks. All right, so what if he tries to do it now? Big deal. We could even take the pawn. We're up 2 pawns now. Forget about it. What is this? It's garbage. It's garbage for white. What are you doing? There's no big deal. There's nothing. Just move the queen up here. Look at your own engine up there. The chess genius knows. Look at this. You're up 2 pawns. Look at what black. Look, it says against white. Look, negative 2.06. See? It knows. The chess genius app. It knows, yeah, you're up 2 pawns. And what does white have for it? What does white have? He has I mean, he has the open file for the rook, but, folks, it's not as powerful now. That little pawn at F6 makes all the difference, right? I mean, there's so much more to it, to the Max Lang attack. All right, so now, look at this. Look, what about this? Let's look at it. Simple enough, right? We take, okay, let's do it again. Here comes the pawn push now, right? Takes, all right. So now what? You don't have the rook check. What if you take the pawn over here? You go, all right, I'm going to lose this guy. Let me at least take. I'll trade pawns instead of just losing the pawn, right? But now the bishop again, folks. The bishop's not over here. He's over here. He's over here now, right? Boom. You take back. Big deal. What are we talking about? What did he get? What did white get? Okay. He's not down 2 pawns, but he's down a pawn for nothing. I tell you what, I didn't even think the engine. I remember this. Pawn takes, look at this. Queen check first, right? Now, if white moves, he can't castle. And he's not going to get that rook on H1 swinging over to E1 anytime soon. Remember that whole talk about castling by hand, folks? He's got to use 3, 4 moves to do it, right? No way. Now, look. If he blocks with the queen, right? Who cares? We take it. Now all the counterplay. White's down a pawn, right? Already takes. Now we take the bishop. That we take with the bishop. Bishop takes pawn on G7. Now we're up a pawn, and the queens are off. So how much play and dynamics and chances of attack is White going to have now? He's already busted. His game didn't even start yet, and he's down a pawn. Look at the engine now. Minus 1.60. Come on, forget it. Folks, this is black. If you're playing this black, you'll be happy just to be equal. You're playing black now, and you're up. You're up a pawn and a half. Come on. Let's just say you're up a pawn, right? Enough with the fractions and the nonsense. All right? You're doing fine. Come on. This is nothing like the Max Lang attack, right? Nothing like the Max Lang. All right, so anyway, where do we go from here? Okay, so the knight comes up. The pawn pushes, right? Lichtenhein did that. Morphy followed with the D-pawn push to D5. All right, Lichtenhein doesn't take, okay? He repositions his bishop to B5. Okay. Does he lose a tempo? Well, not really, because now Morphy has to move his knight. He has to move his piece again, all right? So there's no loss of a tempo. Morphy repositions it to E4. So the knight's posted strong. He charges forward with that trusty steed. All right, but Lichtenhein's bishop's now pinning the knight, right? And after Morphy jumps the knight to E4, Lichtenhein takes back his pawn. All right, so now it's not a gambit, okay? He takes back the pawn, and at this point, there's pressure on the C6 knight, okay? For instance, just dumb move. Here we go. Boom, right? And let's just say, I'll just show you the tactic. Just basically, that's it, right? And if you block, I mean, heck, you can move this guy. You can take this one. And if the rook moves, you can win the knight outright. You win a piece outright. You know? If the knight moves, where can that knight even go, right? He's dangling in the wind pretty much. Doesn't have many squares to go. But anyway, you know what I mean? He's going to lose the exchange. I don't know. Let me just throw the piece. You're going to lose the exchange, right? Okay. So anyway. There's probably better moves for both sides. For white, I mean, better moves there. I'm just showing you, look, yes, better moves for both sides because there's no H6 going to be played here. All right, you got pressure on C6, so what do? Right? Morphy, get a load of this. All right, simple enough. Queen to D7, breaking the pin on the knight, okay? There you go, fine and dandy, right? Everything's good to go. But look, before we get into that, of course, it's not that simple, right, folks? I got to throw in the other sideline. The old masters pointed out, so I got to do it, all right? I got to do it for you. I got to be thorough. This is beautiful, too. This is beautiful stuff. I told you this game is loaded with tactics, okay? Lots of sidelines, yes, tactics. Okay, look at this one. A very complicated line arises here from bishop to C5. Look at this. Knight takes. Bishop takes with check. King over to F1. Look at this. All right. You take the damn knight. Take him off. Give him the fork. Look at this bishop fork. Check on the queen, get ready to bag that A8 rook, right? Okay, so the king swings over. Lo and behold, if you jump the gun, folks, look at what you just did. Goodbye, white. Goodbye, game. Look at this. Bishop checks on A6. Did you see this coming? There's no room for the white king. The tactics fly again. Now, if you're silly and you do something like this, you just threw the game away, right? Goodbye, mate. Okay, now watch. If the only move to save white is this. All right, so you win the queen, right? Okay. You get this guy back. I don't know. You pick up this one. How do you want to do it? You pick this guy up, and we pull this guy back to D. Here, you pull it to D4 if the bishop comes out, right? You're attacking the E5 pawn, right? You're attacking the E5, and you're attacking this. Look, say he's dumb enough to move this out. There you go. You're going to win the rook in the corner, too, right? Come on, folks. It's all over. Come on. This is garbage. You're up. Black's up. -8. Look at this. -8 and a third pawn. I mean, come on. You know. We know not to look at those fractions of the pawns. We discussed that. It's all nonsense. Basically, you're clearly winning here. Okay? You just won the queen. So what is... You can't grab. You can't jump and grab that rook so fast. Bishop to A6. Okay? And you lose the game. White loses the game. So white brings this guy up, right? Let me see. You don't grab the rook. He brings the queen up to D3, right? So now there is no bishop A6, okay? The queen can move that way too, right? Could move diagonally. All right. So now what do? Right? Look at this. We don't save the rook. Look at this. We go right in. Look. Now we're posting the bishop on F5. We're developing with a threat, okay? We're going to attack. We're going to throw the knight, for instance, silly move. Knight fork, right? Well, there's a knight fork of the rook and king, but also a discovery of the bishop. Look, you take this guy, be silly. You're losing this one. You discovered attack on the queen, right? I mean, come on, folks, the pieces are flying all over the place, right? All right, so what if Shredder played this? He played the queen check. All right, you bring your bishop back. You attack him. You keep the pressure on. All right, he swings it over here. He swings it to F3, attacking your bishop. Look at this crazy move. Now the queen comes up to develop, right? Crazy game, folks. This is getting pretty out there, right? You just hung your piece, right? You just, look at this. All right, but then you swing the knight. Now you got a knight fork of the king and queen, but you take that with the pawn. All right, you get the rook. You win the rook in the corner. All right, he's only got this square to go to, right? We got this bishop beaming down on the dark diagonal, right? All right, so now the queen comes up, takes the pawn with check. All right, where's he going to go, tough guy, right? Where you going to go? All right, the king D1. The engine says D1, right? Now look at this. If you check, obviously you can't check here because you got the queen, right? Okay, now watch this. Watch this. Subtleties, folks, subtleties. All right, you got the bishop on the dark squares. Let's stay on the dark squares, you're thinking, right? You come here. All right. Now, you could go, watch this. I don't even know how to present it, but look. Let's check from this square. This square is better. Notice the engine, right? The engine. Queen to H1 check. Why is queen to H1 better, right? Look. White might be thinking, well, if I go here, I lose this guy, right? You lose him. But actually you don't, folks, because then when the knight comes out, and if black is dumb enough to grab the rook, this is it. It's game over. It's game over. Watch the engine. It's going to catch up. It doesn't even realize it yet. Boom, there it is. -7.09. Look at this. It's all over, folks. It's all over. What do? White's threatening mate on F7, right? Okay, so the king only move. King up, right? Okay, you take with check. What do? Where's he go, folks? He's got only one square. Look at this, one square, right? All right. You could take the rook, but look, let's just go for the game, right? We're going for the game here. You're going to try to check on D7, right? End the game. All right. You got control of the light squares, right? All right, black's trying to defend with the dark squares, blocking you out with that bishop. All right, here comes the queen to F3. Going to check on E4, right? Also attacking this guy. The rook over here, for instance, I mean, I don't know, make a move. Look, if you're just going to mate him this way, right? You got the mate there. But obviously, if he tries to save this, you're going to check right here, right? You check there, or you just go right here. Maybe that's even better. And you're just going to come in on D7. There's nothing that could be done. Look at the engine with this one, right? Big deal, right? You take, now there's nothing left. There's nothing left. You just, boom. Mate, right? Mate on the light squares. Now look, again, you're talking about being under the gun, right? Here you go. You're being under the gun. Boom. Here he comes. He checks. You go back. Black checks here. Now he might say, oh, if I go here and he takes me, then I could swing the knight up, and that's not so good for black. I mean, if black takes the rook, I mean, it's over. I'm going to get mate here, and there's nothing that he could stop me from mating him on the light squares, right? Well, can you see all that? How many opponents are going to be able to see that? See all that, right? They go back, you check from H1. Remember, H1, not G1. Why? Okay, H1 check. If the king is dumb enough, I repeat, to want to protect the bishop on C1, and he goes here, right? So you can't grab this guy. Okay? You just come down here and check. You see that, folks? All right, king moves. What are you talking about? Right here, you win this bishop. Now it's game over for white because black is now up. What? He's up. Let's see. We got 2 rooks and a bishop against 2 minor pieces and a rook. And the pawns, we got 6 black pawns against 5 white. Forget it. It's over. White's pieces aren't developed. There's no trouble. No trouble. Black's got an easy win, right? Easy win for black. You see the logic, though, folks? You see what happens? You come in, you check. He's not the grandmaster, folks. He could see it, okay? He could see king. This is it. King to E2 is the move. Let him take my bishop. I'm looking 5-7 moves ahead. You know what I mean? Your average player, you're student of the game. You're learning. Oh no, I can't. I gotta protect my bishop over here, and then you lose the other one. You know what I'm saying? Look at this. You don't think your opponents are going to fall for that under 2,000? The pressure's on. Come on. If this is a money game, you come ripping into his position like this with these minor pieces flying about. Come on. Look at this. The queen. Look at, holy smokes. Look at what's going on. He hung the piece. Oh, he gets the knight fork. Wait, he doesn't get the knight fork. All right, he won the rook. Look at this. Now he gets the checks going, right? He gets the checks going. And guess what, folks? That's the better move. And what do you do for black? You just keep checking. You just keep checking, folks. It's a perpetual check. See? Draw 3 rep. Perpetual check. The game is drawn, all right? Sometimes you win them, sometimes you lose them, and sometimes you pull out the draw where you otherwise would have lost. It feels like a win. All right, we go on. We get the half point. Folks, we go on to the next round, right? You're black. You're playing black. You're not supposed to win. Nobody's supposed to win a chess game, right? Theoretically, it's a draw. Okay, if white plays the best moves and black plays the best answers, right? What are you supposed to have? A draw when it comes down to it. Here you go. You got the draw. Boom, boom, boom. What do you got? What is it? Move 20? All right, fine. You know, we go get some lunch. We rest up. We'll have the white pieces hopefully next round. You already played the game with black once, right? All right. From black's perspective, a draw is pretty good. All right? White blew his chance to win with his first move advantage. You know what I mean? All right. Anyway, again, the tactics fly, folks. The tactics fly. This is another line to add to your repertoire. You know what I'm saying? This is another one to try. But, okay, back to the game, right? Back to the game. Morphy. Bishop to D7, all right? Taking that pin of the knight away, okay? And as a matter of fact, black's threatening this now, right? Something dumb. Just throw that H3 dumb move. Look, you're threatening here. Now, if white was to totally be off his game, he just lost the piece, see? You lost the piece. You destroyed the defender, right? You destroyed the defender. If he takes back the knight, then you win the bishop because now it's undefended. All right, but I'm sure you see it. If this was played, right, He's got it. He's got an in-between move, which is check, luckily, right? So, okay, so then we take, and then he gets... White's hanging in there, but not for long. Look at this, bishop to c5, okay? Now attacking that queen, and lo and behold, when the queen moves, I don't know. Where do you want to play? Let's see with the chess genius. Look at this. All right, he throws the pawn up first. All right, who knows why? Look, you take it, no problemo. The queen can't come down here. The black queen's got it covered, right? There's no sense to this move. I don't know this e6, right? Throws it in just for spite, maybe. I don't know. The queen moves. All right, she wants to come to this square. That's why Chess Genius is doing it. The chess app. All right, look. We take with check. Right? The king's got to move. All right? Where's it going to go? It says it wants to go. Big deal. There you go. You go to e2, okay? Yeah, this looks good. You castle. Look at it. Look at the threats, though, folks. Look at this now. Wait a second here. Look at all these threats. You got the queen coming up, check, right? You got the castle develop. You got the f-file now for the rook. I mean, come on, folks. What are we up? We're up 2 pawns. Look, 2 center pawns. The E and the D pawn. Black's doing great here. You kidding me? The white king can't castle, right? Lost those castling privileges. Oh, forget it. It's shaky, folks. It's only going to be about a time, and it's not going to take too long either. I say black's got this one in the bag, right? All right, so what are we talking about? Look, let's go back. All right, we got the silly h3 move, right? All right, of course. Morphy develops the bishop. All right, there was no h3, okay? So Lichtenhein, he takes the knight. He takes the knight. Now, I've seen this, basically, whole other thing, right? You take back with the pawn. You take with the pawn coming to the center. Now you're ready to boot that knight off that centralized knight on d4. We don't like him in the center. That's a strong knight. Maybe we push c5 next, or maybe get a piece out, then push it, get that king bishop out and castle. You know, it's a whole other game, right? But look at the way Lichtenhein takes with the knight takes knight. Now when we take with the pawn, we hit the bishop with tempo, right? Now the bishop's got to move again. All right, here he goes. Lichtenhein drags the bishop back to d3, all right? Now, what do you think Morphy plays? He's got to develop pieces, right, folks? We're talking about Morphy now. Quick development to strong, aggressive squares. Where do you think? All right, the king. We all know the king bishop's coming out, right? We all know the king bishop's going to fly out into battle, right? Then we could get castled. Bring the last minor piece into the game, right? Bishop to c5, of course. Pressure in f2 down here. Pressure in the f2 pawn. The knight and the bishop now attack f2. All right. So what does Lichtenhein do? Okay, what do you think? Look at this. Ah, get out of here. Come on, leave my f2 pawn alone. I mean, he can castle, folks. Look, he can castle. Maybe he was fearing something like, you know, if he goes ahead and he gets the pawn and the rook for the 2 minor pieces. Material-wise, you know, mathematically, yes, it's even. The 2 minor pieces are worth 3 each, total of 6. The rook's worth 5, the pawn's worth 1, total of 6. Material is equal, but, okay, you're giving up 2 minor pieces that are nicely posted. Okay, strong position, centralized knight, and a bishop. Nice diagonal for that bishop now, beaming down, aiming at the king. Why would you want to get rid of him so quick? The rook hasn't even done anything yet. Technically, the castle move can be considered a safety move for the king, right? I mean, the rook's not on an open f-file like we've seen in other games, so it's got to move again. It's got to move to get position, or you got to push the f-pawn and try to rip open the f-file. That rook's not even developed yet. You got 2 developed pieces. The knight moved twice to get to e4. The bishop moved once to c5. 3 tempos, and you're going to give up those 3 tempos for a rook that technically isn't even in the game yet? You know what I mean? All right, anyway, why would you do it, okay? Your material is equal, but you're throwing away tempos, and you're good position for those minor pieces. All right, anyway. Here we go. What does Lichtenhein do? He doesn't castle. All right? Maybe he thought he would attack f2. I don't know. He doesn't like that knight up there either. It's very strong post. He figures, all right, I'm taking that knight out. I'm going to double those pawns, right? You double these pawns. Look at this. All right, now black would have double pawns, right? I would say black would have, because Morphy didn't take back yet, right? He didn't take that bishop on e4. But just to show you this, you got, look at those isolated c-pawns. Oh, so ugly, right, folks? You got isolated c-pawns and isolated a-pawn all by himself. All right. You know, what does black have, though, in compensation? He's got the bishop pair, folks. He's got the bishop pair. It looks, the game's opening up. Can be deadly, all right? Could be an advantage. All right? So he takes one disadvantage. He gets an advantage in return. He gets the bishop pair, but he has the busted pawns. All right? But Morphy does not take, like I said. He swings the queen with tempo into the game. Queen to h4, threatening checkmate on f2. Can you believe it, folks? Saves his bishop. Ooh, you didn't even take back. I'm up a piece. Yeah, you lost the game, right? All right, so let's stay awake. I know it's long, folks. I know that Max Lang attack was a little added bonus there. It's going a little long. But here we go. We got to stay awake, right? So Morphy threatens mate on f2. So what comes next, huh? What comes next? All right. Theodore throws the queen to e2, protecting his bishop, right? He's protecting f2. And then, he's backing up that bishop so that if white takes with the queen, he can even say, let's get the queens off the board. I know this guy's a big attacker. He's shown that in the first few games. Let's get those queens off and let's see how he does in the end game, huh? All right, so maybe this is the idea. Okay, Morphy would have the bishop pair, though, even though he's got the busted queenside pawns, right? Queens are off the board now. He's got the bishop pair, but he's got those busted pawns. But Morphy doesn't take back with the queen. Come on. What do you think Morphy does, right? All right, he takes the let's see, wait, where are we? Bishop takes knight. Yep, he takes with the pawn. Okay, I'm right. He takes with the pawn. Okay, now look at Lichtenhein now. Look at what he does. He develops a piece. All right. Challenging that king bishop on c5, right? Maybe he just wants to keep swapping pieces. Let me get off of this. Let's get into the end game. Maybe I could take him out with this pawn, king and pawn end game, right? Those pawns are busted over there on the queen side. So maybe I could win an end game somehow. Let's trade them off, right? Now, the old masters have the little note. This was white's last chance of castling, okay? So what does that tell you? He's getting into trouble, folks. He should have got that king to safety. Don't underestimate the castling move. Open games, you want to get that king to safety as fast as you can, okay? You don't want to get into trouble. So look at this. Here comes Lichtenhein challenging that. Whoops, I'm sorry. Right, he goes there. We take the bishop. Here comes Lichtenhein. All right, there you go. Challenging the bishop on c5. Right. What does Morphy do now? Look at this one, folks. He throws the bishop up, attacking the queen. Now the pieces are starting to swarm. Right, they're starting to gang up on the white position. Here they go. They're going after the queen right now. That bishop on g4. Good move, right? Making it crazy. Lichtenhein throws the queen, okay? Throws the queen to c4, attacking Morphy's bishop on c5. Now look at this. Look at this. Where else could he go, folks? Where else could he go? Look, if he swings it here, right? If he swings it here. Because I got to tell you, look, let's just give a move, right? Let's say he comes all the way. He can't go here, the pawn. He can't go here, the other pawn. He could go here. Let's just throw it out there just to show you something. Look, this bishop on e3 without the queen is hanging because the pawn can't take back. The f2 pawn is pinned to the white king by the queen over here, right? Okay, for now anyway. That's just a little thing. So say you make the mistake, the beginner mistake, saying, "Oh, I got to protect that bishop still." Let me put it here, folks. Now the rook comes into the game. Down the open D file. Rooks belong on the open files. Bring the big guns into the game. Right? What are you going to do now? Look at this. If you swing off there, come on, folks. If you even just come out, you come out, forget it. It's rook. Rook down, mate. I mean, come on. I'm losing my voice. Let me get a little drink here, folks. This is none of the hard stuff, like I said. This is kombucha, whatever you say. That drink they make, right? Antibacterial, whatever. The bacteria, healthy bacteria. What does it say? Probiotics. That's the word. We need the probiotics. We need the tactics and attacks, right? All right, good stuff there. Little lemon lime flavor, coconut lime. Here it is, coconut lime flavor. Not bad. All right, what am I talking about? Where are we, folks? Oh yeah, mate on D1 with the rook. Look at that pattern, folks. Don't you forget it, right? All right, come on. This is all, look, it could be beginner mistakes. You know, you're trying to hang on to the bishop. You can see that much. Boom, the rook comes in. All right, so what if you go like this, right? You go like that. Okay, why don't we take that bishop off, right? Okay, that's why you kept the queen around, you know, or you defended. Folks, the rook, the rook move's got me cracking up. My voice is cracking again. Wait, let me get the kombucha out again. Hold on, I got to help my voice out. I know this is long. Holy smokes, kombucha to the rescue, however you say this stuff, who knows. I like the taste, it's all that matters. All right, now, let's get back to it. So, what does Lichtenhein do? All right, he doesn't make the mistake of swinging the queen over, letting Morphy get another piece into the attack, right, with tempo on the queen. You got the bishop already coming in, getting the tempo on the queen. All right, so the queen moves out, attacking Morphy's bishop on c5, like we said. Now, folks, did you see it? Look, if you try to save your bishop, look at this coming in, right? Look at this. Could be dangerous. Could be dangerous. All right. I don't know. I guess he'd have to save, because if he moves on the back, if he moves over here or something, right? Look out. He's grabbing those rooks, folks. He's grabbing those rooks. Could be dangerous, right? I don't know, but Black still got some pieces over there with his own attack. Let's just see the engine, too. We're just curious. All right, he gets out of dodge. He castles. So, it looks like, according to the engine, he's still White's winning here. He can hold off the attack. Okay. Anyway, I didn't look that far, because this is, you know, Morphy doesn't fall into this, right? I didn't look into it, because once this comes out, okay, what does Morphy do? He takes the bishop. Like I said, the queen's not defending it anymore. He takes the bishop. He throws it up in the air. Who cares, right? Watch this, folks. Okay. Now, Lichtenhein, I guess he sat there, he analyzed it, and he eventually plays pawn up here, okay, hitting the queen, the black queen. All right, but now look at this. Let's go through the old masters analyze it, because obviously, like we showed you, White's got this one, right? The bishop moved off the c5, covering this attack on the c-pawn, and now we got the queen fork, right? We seen it with the bishop earlier, queen forking the king and rook on a8. All right, now the queen's doing it. All right, let's see what happens. Okay, so now, this is where it's interesting. We got the black, remember, the black queen is over there, ready to take on f2. Okay, but we're in check. Okay, now if we move, all right, we take the pressure off of Black. I mean, we take the pressure off of White. He has time to do this, right? And then whatever. Let's keep it the way they analyze it. Strongest moves, right? Strongest moves. Keep the pressure on White's queen. Bishop back, attacking that white queen, right? Okay. So now, if he moves, for instance, if he moves anywhere, I don't know, take your pick, right? Let's say he can't go back because the bishop just takes him, right? Let's just say, I don't know, here or here, right? He comes off, or even, let's say, sensible, right? I know you're yelling at me. Take the rook. What are you talking about? All right, he goes up. Okay, let's say he takes the other rook, okay? All right, now did you see what happens? Look, this is what I'm talking about. The queen comes in on f2, check, only square, mate. All right? You got those two bishops slicing through, right? Slicing through the position. Slicing and dicing, right? That's their name. This call it not light square and dark square bishop, king, bishop, queen, bishop. Just call them slicing and dicing, right? Those are the two names. Slicing and dicing up the white position. Look at this. Check. Boom. All right? They come flying in like daggers, right? Okay. Mate, put that one into your pattern book. All right, here we go. Here we go. So you can't just take these rooks. Come on. You got to dummy up. All right, now, you put the pressure on, okay? So if he takes this one, you come up. Now what? Now what does he do? Right? So he can't obviously do this. King up. All right. So he's got to stop that queen from coming in on f2, right? So now, all right, white figures my queen is hanging by your rook, right? But now I take your queen. And I know his pawns are busted up and ugly, but hey, he's up the exchange, right, folks? He's up the exchange, so it's a fight, okay? Now, he might even be winning. He gets those, even though his pawns are busted, he's got the open files. He can get his rooks into the game, right? He's up material. So, by putting the pressure on Black's queen, it's like, let's offer a queen exchange, okay? White's up the exchange now. He figures, let's trade the queens off. Black doesn't want to do it, okay? Look at this move, folks. Let's see if you could find it. This is a good one. Beautiful. This will develop your tactics. Do you see what you should do for Black? Here you go. Bishop takes f2, check. Now, king takes, right? Because let's be honest. Where does he go? If he doesn't want to take, I'm not taking you. I'm not taking. The queen can move with check. And then once the queen, all right, now the king takes whatever. The black queen is safe. So there you go. You win the white queen. If the black queen could get a check, it's curtains for white. If black's queen could get a check and get out of danger, then he could pick up the white queen and prize, right? Okay, here we go. Here's how it works. This is the check, right? Let's do it again, just so you see. Check, not king over. That's what we were showing. King takes bishop. All right, now pawn push. You check the king. You're gaining another tempo. Now again, look, if you just simply take it, you get a check in. King moves. Now you grab the queen and prize, and you can hold on to your queen. You're winning the game easy, right? So, if he moves to any of the light squares, that's what happens. Look, queen check over here, right? Queen check over there. If he moves to this one, right? Again, queen check over here. If you check over here, folks, watch this. If you check over here, the white queen could come to safety. Yes, you get your black queen to safety on h3. But now he could block with his. He drags it to safety himself. Now watch this. I got to show you something worth showing, which is crazy. Right? Here we go. We take the queen. He takes. We check. We check the king, right? He doesn't want to lose that rook, okay? If he just moves, we take the rook, right? And there we go. It's a fight. It's a game, okay? It's basically minor piece. Queen. It's bishop versus knight, and you got the rooks on the board, right? The pawns are pretty much equal. Okay, so anyway, here we go. He's got to move. He's got to move to G2 to protect it. Watch this, folks. I'm setting up a doozy for you right here. All right, now, look at this. He doesn't want to take here because once he grabs the rook and then the king gets the bishop. Forget it. Now you're down, folks. Now you're down. Now you're down a minor piece, right? And that pawn's no problem for white. That pawn's never going to come down, right? Let's look closely. Watch. Here comes, let's say the rook comes down. Big deal. You go here, right? It's over, folks. It's over. There's no way. The pawn can't advance. No way you're going to get it to queen. Okay, so anyway, the king comes down. Now you bring the rook over, right? You're using your other guy, okay? He's going to swing down. He's threatening mate on D1, right? If you fall asleep, you got mate right here with the bishop covering G2, the pawn covering F2. Look at it. The king is mated on the back rank. Okay, obviously, no A3. We're setting it up, baby. We're setting it up. We're showing you why the moves are being made. Knight out. Okay, now the rook on A1 covers the back rank, plus you got your piece developed. Okay, fine. Here comes the rook, though, to the 7th rank. Get the rook to the 7th, causing havoc, right? All right, so now what happens? Look at this, folks. Look, okay, look at the engine. Protect C, the C2. Look, he's scared. He's scared of rook takes C2, right? He was scared of this, so the engine's saying bring the rook over there. Folks, watch this now. All day long, folks, all day long. Look, check, okay? King comes over. You check on, with the help of the E3 pawn, right? You got the check on F2. Now, if the king goes this way, you grab the rook. You grab the rook, right? Now it's an even game again. Okay? It might need whose pieces, even though material's equal, whose pieces are posted better, folks? Come on, look at that rook on the enemy 7th rank. Come on, the king can't get out of there, and the rook is locked in. Forget it. We're gonna eat him alive, right? Okay. Let's dummy up. The king can't go over here. He doesn't want to give up his rook, right? He's got to go back to protect from bishop takes rook, right? Okay, well, we check him again. Get out of here. So now he goes back. I want that rook in the corner. I don't think so. Get out of here. Come on, check, go over. Right? Over and over. I can't even do it, folks. It's a repeat. The position repeats itself. It's perpetual check. I can't even get it out. Where's the kombucha? All right, here we go. There you go, folks. You can't. It's a draw, right? You get a draw. Okay, wait a minute, wise guy. Because we're throwing in this dumb move, right? We're throwing in this stupid move, a rook to come on. What is this, right? Let's try something different. Let's try to control. Now, let's try to control F2 with the knight. Now, look, folks, don't get me wrong. All right, I know that this looks ridiculous because you're bringing the knight to the back rank. You're taking the A1 rook out of the game, right? You're kind of going backwards. Those rooks are nowhere linked up, right? You got the king and the knight in the way. Very clumsy looking, right? But you're figuring maybe I could unwind it, and then I could, my material, I'm up big time, okay? I'm up a whole rook and a knight. I'm up a rook. I'm up a full rook, right? So there you go. Okay, now, and plus he's attacking E3, right? Maybe I'll grab that. Maybe I'll grab that pawn somehow. All right, now look, here we go again. We can't get him. We can't check him on F2. We check first here. He goes over, right? Now again, we can't check him because that's the whole purpose, right? This is what we were saying. The knight covers F2. All right, so what do we do, folks? Look at this. Watch this one. What we do is we swing the rook over here. Okay? Now, we're attacking that rook on H1 with the bishop again, right? This guy's threatened. Now, we could do one of two things. We could go here again, right? And we got the same situation, just from a further square. Okay, he moves, we move on. Instead of checking him again, we're just moving him over here where he's safe, and he's got to go back, right? But obviously you're saying to yourself, wait a minute, why can't now I got the free square? I can move my rook to here, right? It makes sense. Now I got my rook on a safe square. That bishop isn't going to harass me anymore. I'm on the dark square. And now I could try to unwind. I'll move my knight out of the way, and I'll unwind and forget it. I'm up a rook. Come on, it's game over, right? Yeah, it is game over, folks. But it's for white. White's going down now in flames. Watch this. Rook check. King over, right? Oh, wait, my fault. Don't blow it. Don't blow it. I just blew it. I'm sorry. Damn. It shows you. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Shows you how quick you can make the mistake. Look at this, folks. You got to check, but you got to check with the bishop. Bishop checks first. The king's got nowhere to go, right? Got nowhere to go. So what does he do? He's got to move. He's got to move to here. To E1, right? Now we got this square to check him. We got a square. We changed it. We moved everything over, but watch how deadly this is, folks. It's called a windmill. The windmill has been played. It's been set up on the board. You fell right into it. Look at this. The king's got nowhere to go but there. All right, here we go. We take a pawn. Check from the bishop. The discovered check. The king's got nowhere to go. There's nowhere to block. King over. Check. All right, king's got to go back over here. Check. Discovered check. Rook swings, grabs another pawn. King's got nowhere to go. The windmill, folks, the windmill. Check. King over. Let's grab this guy over here on this side. It works here too, folks. We go this away. We go this away. We go that away. Here they go. Look, all the pieces, all the pawns. They're coming off the board. What an insult to injury. Look at this. He comes back. He goes there. He goes back. He goes, oh, what did I do? I did it in extra time just for fun. Look at that. He goes back over here. Now we take the rook, baby. We take a piece. We get our rook back. What happened to the white position? It imploded. What happened? All the pawns are gone. What happened, folks? You fell into the windmill. You got chopped up, folks. Diced and sliced. And we don't even have dicing and slicing on the board. We just got one of them. We got dicing over there on B5. All right, so now, even now, what are you going to do? Okay, I got my pieces still. It's even pieces. I know I lost all those pawns. I don't know. I'll try to fight on. Maybe you just moved it. I don't know. You moved the rook. You do something. Do whatever you can do, right? Who cares? Whatever you do, you can't even move the king up. Look at the pawn controlling those two dark squares, right? And look at the bishop controlling the D5, right? I don't know. Maybe you move the rook over here. Take the open file, right? Folks, look at this. You just put more pressure on that pin knight. Now the knight's coming off the board. All right, you got to protect him, right? You got to protect him. Folks, who cares? Who cares? You just take. Now you're winning. Now you're up. Forget it. What, you're going to trade off like this? Look at all these pawns. Come on. You think you got a chance in the end game? Holy smokes. The windmill, folks. We mentioned it's in your wheelhouse, right? I love these words. The words, the glossary's going to be full of them after this game, huh? Windmill, wheelhouse, huh? Kombucha. Whatever the heck it's called, it tastes good. All right, the windmill, nice. There's one add to your incredible tactics, right? Your book is growing, your repertoire, tactics, and combinations continue to grow, folks. And you know what? It's all unnecessary because in this position anyway, you would never even check. I just had to. I couldn't help it. I had to show you this one, folks. But simply, like this. This is how we got into it. Remember? The check over here. Trying to win that rook, king back. Okay, look. But where do we get from this? How do we get here? Folks, you don't even check from this square. You check from over here, right? No, I'm sorry. I didn't drag it right. King goes back. You don't check over here, okay? Which showed you the windmill. Look, you check from here. You got the win for sure. You got the guaranteed win now because when the king moves, you just pick up your queen and prize. Remember that one? All right. So here we go. So now we're in this, right? We take, he checks, pawn up. Where does the king go? Okay, this move, only move really, is this one. Is there a check? Well, there's only one check for your black queen. And it's right there on B4, check. Okay, he hits him with the pawn. Look, again, if you don't pressure that queen, if you just block it, there's no pressure on the queen. You get the white queen, okay? You understand it? So white's got to keep pressure on the enemy queen. So it's a queen trade opposed to just dropping your queen on A8, right? Okay, but now black picks up the B2 pawn. He didn't check the white king. So white has time to save his queen, right? He's got to swing it back over here. And now we pick up the rook, baby. See how it works? So you get your rook back. Unbelievable stuff, the game of chess, huh? What a variation, huh? I tell you, those old masters, they're always good for a nice laugh, right? Crazy combinations and tactics. Okay, so you got it back. Now, look at this. Now black's in the driver's seat because he's threatening that knight, okay, on B1. It's pinned to the king. All right, so he moves the king up, right? He moves the king up. Now the rook on H1 is defending the knight on B1. Okay, but look at this. You go here, you check. How about that one, huh? All right, take the pawn over here, right? Now you come swinging up, check on the dark square diagonal, right? Now, where do you go now, right? Because it doesn't even matter, folks. First of all, if you go here, it's a disaster. Because now the bishop checks and you lose your queen. Skewered! You skewered that king and queen. You win the queen. Forget about it. Game over, right? You can't go there, right? We all see that one coming. After the check, if you go here, right? You go over here. Now you force him to that square. Look, the bishop controls the light squares. The queen's checking. There's only one square you can. Whoops. Oh, how did that happen? You only go one square check. Now you skewer the. Forget it. It's gone. It's over. It's unbelievable, right? Unbelievable. Now the queen and the light square bishop are slicing and dicing, right? All right. So anyway, the queen checks. Okay. If he comes here, you're gonna set up a discovered check. Maybe even a double check, right? That's dangerous. Very dangerous. If he moves, whatever, it doesn't matter. You got the rook on the open file now. You throw the bishop on C6. You skewer the white queen and the rook. The queen moves, right? Forget about it. Maybe you don't even go. Look, you don't even go in. You just go in for the mate. You don't even take the rook. The king has only one square. Look at the open files, folks. Look at the black queen, right? The black queen and the black rook taking the D and the B files under control. All right? King back. Here we go. We swing down. We take the knight. It's checkmate. How about that pattern, huh? All right. Look. He doesn't want to move there, folks. Forget about it. He moves here, right? He moves here. Okay? Now we throw our bishop up there, skewering the queen, right? We're having a barbecue, the skewers. There they go. Look, what if he goes back here? I mean, obviously, if he moves, right, we win the rook. We win the rook outright. We just take it, right? Now we're up a rook. Wasn't it black who was down a rook a few moves back? All right. Say you want to try to at least get the bishop for it, right? So if you take the rook, all right, at least I get the bishop. Hold on there, wise guy. Look at this. You go back. Folks, you just fell for the skewer, but the other one, the king and queen, skewers all over the place. This got to be a barbecue game, right? Look at this, the kebabs. Look at this, right there. Boom. You win the queen. Forget it. All right, what are we gonna do? Look, oh well, at least you get that guy. Yeah, but come on. Look, I'll just trade. I'll even give you my queen here. I got my rook still. It's game over. All right. So anyway, there you go. It's over for white. All over. So this whole variation with the old masters pointing out. Let's just do it quick, right? Here we go. If he takes, we check. This is what Lichtenhein faces, right? Morphy has just taken the bishop, so we won a piece, right? If Lichtenhein goes in for this, the old masters say, you put the pressure on the white queen. He takes the rook, king up. The pressure's still on the white queen. White puts pressure on black's queen. Black throws in the in-between move, the check. The king takes. He throws the pawn up, check. The king moves in anywhere that the black queen could get his queen to safety with a check. Black wins. I can't even get it out. All right, he moves there. Black throws the check in. White's got to keep the pressure on. He takes the pawn, all right? White has time to save his queen. But now, black gets the rook. King up to protect that knight. Queen check. King takes the pawn over there. Check. King moves. Best move there, but he's still losing. Skewered! Right? Don't want to do this. He goes here, right? Okay, goodbye. There it is. There it is, folks. It's over. There you go, look. You do something like this. Look, you don't want to go up here because then you take this one and you win the rook over there. Now it's going back and forth. And the game is crazy. I don't even know. You just come up here. Look at this. The engine knows. You do something like this, so who cares? Look, he's lost. He's lost big time. He's lost big league, right? Look at this. All right. There you check the king. You take there. You protect your rook. All right. You protect your rook, and it's all over, folks. Now you're up the rook. How about that, huh? It's you who ends up being up the rook when the dust settles, right? All right. So Lichtenhein, maybe he was sitting over the board. It doesn't mention how long. Look, they didn't use clocks back then. There was no such thing as a chess clock yet. So who knows where Lichtenhein, how long he thought about this one, huh? Morphy takes, right? And Lichtenhein doesn't go in for this, okay? Like I said, he hits the queen, right? He hits the queen with the pawn. He figures, then I'll take over there. Then I'll take that c6 pawn. Maybe then I can win the rooks. Rook or rooks, right? Anyway, Morphy's got a good move, though. He swings the queen back. He swings the queen back to d8 from the frying pan into the fire, right? What happens here? He takes there, check. Now what? Now what? He doesn't even have a check left, right? And look at this, just to show you what's coming. I mean, all right, anyway, look, if he takes here, folks, if he takes down there, come on. Look at this. What are you talking about? You come down with your check with the queen now, right? All right, look at this. Only two squares, right? If white goes this way, it's mate on E2, right? If he goes here, right? If he goes there, look at this. What are you going to do now, huh? What are you going to do now? It's going to be mate on G2. There's no way the white queen could come down to help out at this point. All right, he's got to check. Okay, so the king comes over, right? Let's see, the king goes. Let's see, how does it go? Let's see here. He checks there. King F8, right? If he checks him again, the only check, folks, the only check. I mean, look, if he takes with check. He's on the light squares now, right? This is important to watch and learn. Now black's only square comes up, but now he's on the dark square. The black king's on a dark square. The white queen is on a light square. He can't check him. In the way it is here, he can't check from a diagonal, right? So he can't do anything. What does it matter? He wins the rook over there. It's game over, right? We're all talking about that G2 square. So if he tries to check him this way, big deal. He goes in. Where are the checks? Where did they run out? There's nothing that white can do. The queen's on a dark square, can't get back to help out the mate, right? All over. It's all over. So, anyway. So, he can't go in after this move, right? Queen back by Morphy, threatening mate. He's actually threatening mate on D1 right now, just like the rook. For instance, just to dummy up, we'll show you. Remember the rook coming down with mate? Well, it works with the queen too, right, folks? All right. So anyway, what does white do here? All right, he takes his piece. He takes it, right? He takes the knight. I mean, he takes the bishop. I know it's been long, folks. All right, he takes the bishop. But folks, we just showed it to you, right? What does it even matter? He comes down, right? He comes down check. All right, only square, right? F2. Okay, he checks from here. All right, if the king goes here even, all right, we do win the rook, right? We all see that. We win the rook over here. Or we could just check like this. Look at that, huh? We check like this, even better. Why win material? Why go for the material when you just could win the game, right? Look at this, folks. Queen check. He can't come here because the bishop, right, on g4. Only square, right? Only square. And look at this pattern. Here's another one to add to your list. Look at this. Bishop to h3 mate. See that? How the queen takes all the squares away, nowhere to run, and then the bishop checks on that little light square diagonal there, h3 to f1. Look at it. Nowhere to go. The queen on c4, the white queen, no help. Right? Okay. So, which way does he go, folks? He goes over here, right? He goes over there to g1. All right. Here comes the bishop. Nothing he can do now. Nothing he can do. What are we talking about? Come on, the G2 square again. It's like it transposed. Look, you can't come back here to help. No way. Nothing. Nothing. All right, so what does he do? I mean, Lichtenhein goes in with the check. All right, he figures, let's see what Morphy does. Maybe he'll make a mistake. Come on, folks. Look, he runs right into the corner. Here we go. Here come the checks. Okay, he doesn't even check that way because if he goes back, big deal. There's nothing left. Lichtenhein preferred to take the rook. At least let's get this rook in the box. Right? Okay, he comes up. And there you have it, folks. Lichtenhein has no answer. Nobody would have an answer here. It's mate. Nothing could be done. Nothing can stop the mate on G2. It's all over. No checks from the white queen. They run out. That's it, folks. That's all he could do. It's all over. Big deal. Maybe Lichtenhein wants to grab another rook and throw it in the box. Right? He's mad. All right, there you go. Queen to G2, mate. So it's all over, folks. How do you like that one? And guess what, folks? The streak music continues. Can you believe this, folks? Another one in the bag. Let's get the victory music. Here we go. A streak continues. Morphy handles Theodore Lichtenhein. All right, it's game one. He's got 7 games in a row. The streak continues. All right, it's going to be game 2, round 3 next. Don't miss it, folks. We got another exciting episode of Morphy's Games of Chess. Good night.